Thomas Fuller, catedrático de Seguridad y Salud Ocupacional de la Universidad Estatal de Illinois y presidente electo de la Asociación Internacional de Salud Ocupacional, IOHA.
Hello, my name is Thomas Fuller. I'm a professor at Illinois State University. Today I'm going to talk to you about the International Occupational Hygiene Association and our current efforts to build occupational hygiene capacity internationally through education, communication, and collaboration. So, the International Occupational Hygiene Association is a collection of occupational hygiene organizations from around the world that have gotten together to help promote, develop, and improve industrial hygiene worldwide to provide safe and healthy workplaces for all workers. So we've become the international voice for the occupational hygiene profession. Since its creation in 1987, IOHA has grown to 36 member organizations from different nations, and we represent over 20,000 occupational hygienists worldwide. The IOHA structure is made up of a board representative from each country. So we have 36 different board members that help run the organization. And then we have this executive committee with a president-elect, a president, a past president, a secretary and treasurer, and we have one part-time staff member that is paid, and we have them perform many of the administrative duties. So as I mentioned, the IOHA mission is to enhance occupational hygiene and promote the profession worldwide. And we do that through this network of collaboration and sharing information. So that's the overarching mission and goal. The IOHA strategy from the years 2016 to 2020 had been to promote occupational hygiene, improve the practice network, and improve our governance. And we have these 5 basic principles: to have a strong network, to make our profession more visible to the public and to government agencies and to other professions, to be resourceful and creative, to be tactful and know what is our area of expertise and what are other areas of expertise that we need to count upon, but not to step on their toes, and to be influential, to make a decision about what policies should be in place to increase our membership, increase the participation of all the countries in the world. Our new strategy in 2021 to 2025, we have kind of created an internal strategy and an external strategy. So internally, we're going to be more organized. We're going to try and increase our financial stability, get more involvement for members of the board to participate more rather than just going to meetings twice a year. We're going to improve our communication and create a better fraternity between our board members. Externally, the goals to promote the profession, also increase our collaboration with many other organizations externally, provide more support to all of our members, so not just the board members, but to make sure that all the members of all the associations can benefit from IOHA, be more visible, and also increase membership. So the key activities that I'm going to talk about in a little more detail here are the national accreditation recognition, which is where we have a committee that approves the certification of occupational hygienists in 15 countries. We are also going to provide more technical support and collaboration with the World Health Organization and the International Labor Organization, among others. We help promote this international code of ethics to provide a safe workplace for all workers. We are going to recognize and endorse international occupational hygiene standards. And our other key activities are to promote the international scientific conferences and exchange of information. So we had one in 2012 in Kuala Lumpur, one in London in 2015, one in Washington 2018. We have postponed the one that was scheduled for October 2020 in South Korea and moved that to August of 2021. So I encourage everyone to participate in that conference. And the call for papers for the South Korea conference is out at this moment. So you can submit a paper and make a presentation. The National Accreditation Recognition Committee is made up of a variety of representatives from each of these organizations, which has a national certification scheme for occupational hygiene. And these are the organizations which have been recognized. The committee basically reviews the protocols, the procedures, and the program for certification and checks it against their criteria and approval and recognition standards, and then votes to say that the Japanese Association for Working Environmental Measurement and their certification is comparable to the Dutch Occupational Society certification, which is comparable to the British. So they're doing a lot of work to coordinate certification around the world. And at IOHA, we see a remaining need for more occupational hygienists, more certified hygienists, and more educated hygienists. So we look at what the developed countries have in terms of professionals that practice in occupational hygiene, and then we look at developed countries, and we realize undeveloped countries or economically challenged countries, and they're very short on the number of professionals with knowledge and skills in occupational hygiene. So one of our focus goals is to expand the capacity of professionals with certifications and with education. The IOHA Education Committee is a group of board members, and we perform a variety of activities. I'm the chair of this committee at this time. We conduct curriculum development, consensus, and standardization. So we're looking at what all of the colleges and universities around the world teach for occupational hygiene, and then we make a comparison and give advice. We also provide technical support and advice for course development and implementation. What should a course on air sampling or noise monitoring include? And then the Education Committee also works closely and collaborates with the Occupational Hygiene Training Association, which I'll talk about in this presentation in a little bit. But we help develop courses and conduct and coordinate training programs and activities. And then the Education Committee also collaborates with another professional organization called Workplace Health Without Borders. And this group does a fair amount of research and training that IOHA Education Committee helps coordinate between members, either getting sessions. And I'll talk a little bit about WHWB in a moment. Another project of IOHA just recently has been the creation of a Spanish certification exam development task force. And we are planning on creating a certification exam that will be registered and approved by the National Accreditation and Recognition Committee by the end of 2021. So we have a team of members on this task force that are comprised of board members from Peru, Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, Spain. I think we have someone from Puerto Rico and Canada also. But we are also looking for other members to help support this and volunteers to help work on this project. But we will have a certification exam comparable to the CIH or the ROH, hopefully by the end of 2021 for all Spanish-speaking people, occupational hygienists to take. Another committee at IOHA is the Stakeholder Relations Committee, and this group is working to build bridges between these other international organizations. And I mentioned WHWB and OHTA, but we also have people working on projects with the World Health Organization, the International Labor Organization, INSHPO, which is a safety group, and ICOH, which is the International Commission on Occupational Health, which is mostly doctors and nurses. And then we also have a project with the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health in Washington. So I mentioned our collaborations with Workplace Health Without Borders. And I just want to have some information. I do a lot of work with this group, but this group is a nonprofit based in Canada, and they work with workers and families to ensure the health and safety of people in economically developing countries. And we want to prevent the work-related diseases and share expertise and knowledge around the world. Most of the people that work on this nonprofit are volunteers. So they may do research projects in developing countries, or they may give training in developing countries. So some of the activities are training. We give training programs in India, Tanzania, Vietnam, Botswana, Mozambique. I've personally trained in Botswana and Swaziland and South Africa. And we've also had equipment donations to developing countries and PPE donations through WHWB. WHWB has also conducted research projects, and this list here in Nepal and Pakistan and Tanzania are not the only ones. It's just a sample, but they have gotten funding through different ways, possibly the AIHA micro subcommittee grant, through other sources, through universities, to go to these countries and conduct research on the working conditions and then make recommendations to improve the worst case scenarios, to make improvements for the workers, and then even publish these in peer-reviewed journals and disseminate the information. So they're conducting a lot of good work. So I mentioned the Occupational Hygiene Training Association, and I'm a board member on OHTA, representing the education committee from IOHA as a form of collaboration. But OHTA is an online training material platform that's all nonprofit and supported by volunteers. And you could look at their website here, and you can see on the right here is a list of courses, and some of them are offered in Spanish, and that gives the level and the language. And you can actually click on their training materials, and you can get the whole week course, all of the PowerPoints and the training manual and the exercises, and you can download those to use, to study, to do training. And so that's a very good source of material. Moving forward, if we do the Spanish certification exam, this is a great place to look at some of the materials in Spanish to study for the Spanish certification exam. But you can look at their website and see what the organization does, and even ask for training and have someone come to your country, come to Colombia to do training. So the OHTA pyramid of training here is to educate workers through a pyramid. And we teach, the OHTA teaches the basic principles course, which is where we start, but then you can take intermediate courses and get certified. If you take, I believe it's 8 of the courses, and get a OHTA iCert in intermittent training, occupational hygiene level. And the notion is to move on to become NAR certified, to take one of those certification exams that's offered in all of those 15 countries and become certified. And building your career. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens over many years that someone can advance their education and their experience to become certified and then ultimately take on a leadership position in occupational hygiene. That's the OHTA model. One of the organizations that IOHA collaborates with that I didn't mention anywhere yet is the European Network for Education and Training in Occupational Safety and Health. And ENETASH is a very interesting nonprofit grassroots organization with the focus on educating and training people in occupational safety and health, and mainstreaming education for occupational safety and health into all levels of education. So mainstreaming is an interesting word. It's, if you take a class in university in chemistry, the mainstreaming would be that you have 2 or 3 lectures on chemistry safety. And if you take a class on physics, you would have a couple of lectures on physics safety, but also that you would teach classes in high school on occupational safety and how to protect yourself if you're going to start working someplace. So it's a broad way of looking at teaching occupational hygiene. So the model for ENETASH is this teaching, starting with children in kindergarten and teaching them about safety. At my university, my students go out and meet with children in kindergarten and teach them about safety in the home and fire safety and such. That's the ENETASH model. I'm going to finish here with the future opportunities. In IOHA, we want to move towards expanding educational outreach between all of our member nations and these external organizations of WHWB, OHTA, and ENETASH. We want to increase the number of participants in the NAR program. So working on the certification exam in Spanish is especially important. We'll have a whole nother NAR certification and in Spanish. And then we want to increase outreach and collaboration with WHO and ILO. We want to work more on our code of ethics, on the practice of occupational hygiene. We want to endorse these occupational standards and improve education, and then promote occupational hygiene in more international conferences. And maybe not just occupational hygiene, but to have our members give presentations at conferences about public health or conferences about infectious diseases, to really spread the word about what occupational hygiene is and what it can provide. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, you could write to me at my email address shown there, tpfuller1@gmail.com. Thank you very much.